Hey, good afternoon. It's 3:21 p.m. It is Saturday. Let me back up because my computer is kind of weird. So, you might cut off my head if as I'm talking because of the angle. Let me see if I can just move this a little bit. Okay, so today is Saturday. Saturday, March 8th, and I just got back from the library. Now, I had decided to look for work today. This is the first time I've looked for work since leaving my previous employer. And I have decided that anytime I look for work, I will not be doing anything work related in my home. And the reason why is because, and I'm trying to explain this to people to understand, because I've been a victim of human trafficking, anything that relates to finding a job causes me to go into some sort of trauma lapse, okay? Because of the abuse I had dealt with, I guess what you call it, cyberbullying and stuff. And I know that Indeed.com is making an effort to um, to kind of highlight people like me. They just recently did a commercial about a guy who was looking for a finance job, and it was talking about, don't let anybody dull your shine or something along those lines. It was something similar to what I said. Actually, they actually spun what I said into like an advertisement or kind of modified it or whatever. Anyway, I got the message, and I do understand, but it's the previous abuse that I've experienced before that has made me very fearful about going to the workplace. Okay, I had mentioned before that I have a very high moral standard, and because my morals are so very high, most people don't understand or adhere to the same sort of morals that I do. But I'm putting this project together, and I realize, how far off from proper behavior that most people really are. Because I had mentioned in my video, I don't even think I uploaded that, but it is going to be in a part of my moral reset. When I'm talking about establishment of laws, um, which kind of fall into the category of human behavior, proper etiquette, especially when it comes to business law. Okay, like when I first realized I was a targeted individual, I had made several statements to my perps. That stupid, I'm going to use his name, Rex Laverne. Okay, thank God. I keep praising and wishing and hoping he's dead. I do believe he is dead. I did get visions in my head, and I'm going to be printing all my publications and speaking about him as if he is dead. Okay, because that is my sincere wish that he leaves and exits this earth. He has wasted too much of my time. But I wanted to say that, because I dealt with so much trauma, and I realized that when I had first started talking about, hey, could you please knock it off? I do not want to go to another fake job interview. I do not want to be set up in a job with these particular stipulations and blah, 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 blah. And it continued to happen. Okay, why? Because these people do not understand what trauma means. And I did give a brief, kind of a brief description of what trauma is. Maybe that might have been a little bit more extreme for some people, but it was the best way I could try to communicate to how shocking it is, how disturbing it is. Okay, because what trafficking it's a form of human slavery. It is a form of preventing somebody from living their life when they don't have a right to. So, like, after I left Murray Family Farms, I do believe that him and Steve Murray were like buddy buddies or something. And from that point on, they were latching on to me based on some sort of apparition that appeared. My daddy's have apparition that appears, and so he felt as though he could attach himself to me and somehow claim ownership of it. Therefore, managing my career, putting me in a situation, not telling me, but preventing me from finding other employment opportunities. And the way that he did this, he strategically used his campaign smear relating to religion against me. Okay. So, and I want to talk a little bit deeper about this, and I'm going to talk a little bit deeper about it in my upcoming newsletter, but I don't want to give you too much information, but I'm just going to give you a little bit. Okay. A lot is going on right now, and I do believe that he had played a role in the whole DEI initiative. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit, and I've said this, and I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Okay. As a Black woman, I have never tried to rely on affirmative action or any other program to get a job. Okay, how I presented myself as a candidate, and have always done it, and I will always do it, is I look at myself as somebody who has great skills. I do not drop the ball. I mean, when I go into the workforce, when I go into workplace, I'm going to tell you what pisses me off more than anything. When we're supposed to have an assignment, somebody gets an assignment, they're designated an assignment and they drop the ball. I cannot stand that. Now, that is not me saying that you should be a slave to your job. I'm basically saying is I have made it very clear that I am one of the best employees that you could ever have on your team. You can guarantee I am not going to drop the ball. You can always rely on me. I do not call in sick. If I do call in sick, and that's rare, okay? But when I do call in sick, you best believe I work from home, and my work is always made up. I don't ever shuck the responsibility on anybody else. Okay, so when I go and present myself as a candidate, I present myself as I am the best candidate you can ever imagine. Okay, I don't think about me being black or whatever. The thing is, when it comes to employment, this is an issue about discriminating and, like, nitpicking about who you want, the ideal utopia that people were trying to create. And so I believe that Rex Laverne, used me and created some sort of issue relating to who I was as King Solomon, right? Knowing that he didn't know my back, he must not have really knew my background, because my background was deeply rooted in studying Christianity when I was first young. Okay, and like I said, I had nothing against Jesus. I had everything against fake Christians like Rex Laverne. Okay, but he used his brand of religion as a form of blackmail, to blacklist me. Okay, number one, we know that you're not supposed to use religion when it comes to work issues. Gang stalking in general is against the law. Okay, but anyway, I digress. Okay, but the thing is that I have come to realize when it comes to work, and I used to like work, and I still like work, and the only reason why I like working is because of the things that I do. Is because of my little setups. It's because of all things. I have yet to work with a truly professional person. Most of the time, people are just nothing but garbage in the workplace. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So the last place that I worked for, Rex Laverne, I did get some intuitive messages that he was always, I had mentioned when I worked at BT Trucking that there was this guy, he was a Mexican, and he was like comparing his, people are more willing to, listen to Mexicans than they are to black people. Okay. And I kept thinking, wonder who's telling him that. Now that I understand that Rex Laverne was behind this, I'm going to blame Rex Laverne for everything, as well as Steve Murray. Okay. And both are dead as far as I'm concerned. And I'm going to be talking more about that. And I'm going to speak about them like they're dead, because I do believe that they are. And even if they're not, I'm wishing them dead every single day of my life. And rightfully so. Okay. Now, there was another girl that worked over there at Laverne and Son, right? And I'm not going to say her name, but, he wanted to, get more organized and pick things up. And he wanted to, like, do something relating to, like, the dispatch board, as well as calling people who had, like, certain agreement plans or whatever. So I remember he wanted me and her to work together on this particular thing, right? And he was acting, the way he spoke about her, as if, she wasn't doing anything right, blah, 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 blah. And I kept thinking, okay, number one, he should not be doing that. Okay. Number one, he should never be speaking to another person, another employee, about another employee. Because you know what that does? The way he's talking about her, he's creating a toxic environment. So I know good and well he did that about my clothes, about my office stuff, and whatever. So which tells me that once he put me in that job, okay, after all the harassment that he caused me, he was still willing to sit here and cause me more problems by highlighting my clothes and trying to make fun of it. This dude was not repentant at all. Okay, so I'm glad that he's dead. I visualized him blowing his brains out. I'm sorry, let me back up. I can't say blowing his brains out, because he obviously didn't have any. I was visualizing him. This is my visualization. Okay, I should hold this off for the newsletter, but it's so great. I can't hold it back. I visualized that people were watching him. Somehow, they were all watching him. And he was just overcome with the realization that this was all his fault, including all of these business crashes that he's responsible. This was all his. Even though some of these businesses are located in different areas, he's completely directly related to that. He is completely related to all these business crashes. It's all his fucking fault. Okay, now I am going to say that, he came to people in different angles. Okay, like how he got my family to turn against me. He used religion. Okay, how he got some other people to follow him is through the race issue. Now, to me, he's like pissing and shitting in his own water supply when he created this whole DEI initiative, which, I will say, who benefits more from DEI is white women. Okay. So I don't know if he had it in his mind to where he wanted to enslave white women to be breeders for his Nazi agenda. You know what I mean? Was he trying in his own way to create his own world? And like I said, I've never relied on DEI. I come in when I apply for a job, never mind my race. I know I'm the best one. I know I am. There is no, I mean, I'm just going to tell you, I don't drop the ball. I don't sit here and like, shut my shoulders like, oh, nonchalant. I have seen people drop the ball and it's like, oh yeah, I just forgot. They sit there and tell their employer this. Yeah, I forgot. Or I didn't do it. You know what I mean? Or I wasn't there that day or whatever. And these people continue to be on the payroll. Okay, these irresponsible people continue to be on the payroll. These people piss me off. Anyway, do I believe that the girl that was working with me over at the Labarna Son, was she also a targeted individual? I do believe that she was trafficked. As a matter of fact, I do believe that Rex Laverne is responsible for a huge United States human trafficking ring. Okay, he is responsible for a human trafficking ring, and he used this whole DEI initiative to accomplish his goal. Okay, now DEI not only benefits white women, okay, it also does help people with disabilities. Okay, so this dude sounds like he was evil. Okay, he was basically doing this for his own agenda, and he was out of control. Like I said, he was very compulsive about it. So where am I with this? I'm working on my newsletter, and I am talking a little bit about him. I'm talking about I'm actually talking about his death a lot, because people like him don't deserve to be on this earth. They don't deserve to be on this earth. There are a lot of people who are carrying a serious heavy burden. He convinced a lot of people to do some crazy things, including choosing people's marriage partners, encouraging people to, have more children than they are able to provide for, and God knows what else. This was all his mastermind plan. Okay, and it's shocking. It's very shocking. So I know that I'm not a political person. I am not. Okay, but in this situation, when it comes to the moral reset, this second video that I'm making, that's a part of the Life Students, series that I'm submitting to the state. I'm talking about, the issue of psychology, social etiquette, and laws, okay? And the reason why I'm doing it is because I realize just how, I hate to see this word, how uncivilized of a world that we live in. That we can normalize this sort of stuff. This stuff was completely normalized through brainwashing, extreme brainwashing, okay? And a lot of people just weren't aware. And see, this is it. This is why I get frustrated in society. This is why when I talk about cloning, and don't get me wrong, there's things I do enjoy about life, but I'm telling the people, like my soul family, this is what it's like when you bring a person like me into the world, and I'm the only one who upholds any sort of common decency. Okay, I am absolutely miserable having to live among human scrap heap. It is what it is. And so my whole issue about this is just like, okay, if you're going to improve the education system, okay, to be not just somebody who is easily grasp, learning lessons, and also have learning lessons that are easily incorporated into your life, right? The whole point is to be a person who's aware of the law and make better life choices. And see, this is the whole purpose behind it. And, I do understand that when it comes to the law, there really is no excuse for it because the state of California, as well as the rest of the United States, presumes, okay, the reason why you can't claim ignorance in the court of law is because the courts presume that you already have access to this information because it's public information. And how can they presume? Because they believe, okay, that people are interested. The whole idea is that they believe that people want to be good residents and that these things matter. Surprise, surprise, it doesn't. Am I the only person where this matters? Because it seems like I'm the only person who has any sort of etiquette. Who I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm the only person who knows right from wrong. Okay. But what drove Rex over the edge, at least in my visualization and as he kills himself, is that he knows every reason why. He knows why. It's the psychological trauma that he caused to other people. It's the fact that his narcissistic behavior, prevented people from doing things that they had every right to do. Okay, this is all his fault, all of it. Okay, now don't get me wrong. I am not saying that the companies who are suffering aren't responsible for this. Okay, because they should have known. They should have known whether they saw my videos or not. They should have been more educated and knowing, like, they should have known better. What I'm saying is you can initiate DEI. You don't have to uphold you don't have to uphold, what do you call it? This is very tricky. DEI to me is very tricky because we still have the employment laws on the books. It's just that the DEI programs were somehow encouraging people of color and disabilities to apply to these companies, right? All I can tell people who are looking for work right now is to up your game as much as you possibly can. Okay, it doesn't matter what you are. Try to stand out as much as you can. Try to offer more than what you can. Do the best you can. That's all I can tell you. Just constantly get up each morning and try to figure out ways that you can present yourself, as better than the other candidates. That's all you can do. Okay, but still, a lot of people relied on DEI, and I do believe that I know that Rex was very, influenced by the Nazis. Obviously. Okay, if he's pitting races together, and he does this openly. Like, I don't believe he felt any shame in doing it because it was normal to him. Rex was a very ignorant man and a very dangerous man too. You know what I mean? And now, he's got all these white women who who benefited from the DEI. And like I said, it is like if he was trying to benefit the white race, or maybe he was trying to, a lot of white supremacist views have this idea of where they want to have clearly defined roles for the male and the female. Okay. And that's all very well and good if that's what he chooses to do. But he put it in place in the employment sector. And this is what causes the problem. Okay. Anyway, so I was thinking, if some of these companies want to try to salvage their reputation, why not just come right out and say, we were a part of a human trafficking ring, that it was an oversight on our part. Admit it. Be open and admit it. You know what I mean? And be open. A lot of these people were lured on the fact that, or deceived because they thought they were doing the right thing, even though I think that's ridiculous. But they thought that they were doing the right thing because it was a matter of religion. Okay? And then there are some people who knew exactly what he was trying to do with his racist agenda. For those people, they're guilty too. But if they were doing it for the reason behind Christianity, even though religion doesn't belong in the workplace, okay, I can understand how somebody would feel pressured to do it based on religion, even though it's wrong. I can totally understand why they would do that. But still, that's the only thing I think of. There's a lot of people who are, regardless of what inspired them to do this, there are a lot of people who are protesting these companies, and they are die hard on it. They're talking about protesting these companies to like April and stuff. They want to make sure these companies go under. Okay, so I'm just telling you, people, if you have any sense of my thing to these companies is they need to figure out some way to restructure, and also it maybe a public apology. Even though I hate apologies, okay, I hate apologies, because when people apologize to me, I'm like, fuck you. The reason why I'm like, fuck you, because especially when you had all this time to think about what you did before you did it, it's almost worthless to me. Okay, but if a person really didn't know, like they really thought they were doing it because that was a Christian thing to do, even though it's wrong, that's somewhat understandable. Wrong though, but somewhat understandable. But if somebody was if I was to believe that, all these big companies were doing it because they were doing it for a Nazi agenda, which it kind of has that feel to it, making women breeders, because what else are these women going to do? Making them breeders, and then like a Handmaid's Tale. Making them breeders, and then basically disposing of the handicapped, making them useless, kind of like the euthanasia programs back in Nazi Germany. It seems very strange to me. Okay, and like I said, I've never relied on DEI, affirmative action, or whatever. I do know that I have a soul tribe that has assisted me in my work search. However, I have never used anything as an excuse. I always knew that my job was important to me, and I always wanted to have a professional reputation. Period. So nobody can ever say, oh, Maria, she tries to benefit, or none of that applies to me. I'm just saying it because a lot of companies are going under right now. Okay. And so if they want to try to salvage their reputation, they need to start speaking up. And you know good and well that Rex Laverne has something to do with this. So you might as well point the finger where it belongs. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. So the moral reset, I had been like debating as to whether or not I wanted to write it as like almost like a textbook, or write it from my own perspective. I wanted to talk about, my frustrations with social media. Okay. Now, Maria, I don't like dealing with people. I'm going to tell you what, right? I don't like dealing with people. Why? Number one, because they drop the ball. Number one, I don't like red tape. And number one, I have more energy, more drive, more fuel when this chick flies solo. She flies solo. Okay. But I understand, that this is the root of the problem. The root of the problem is that there's ignorance, and the root of the problem is that there's evil. And I'm sitting here. I want to identify each one. I want to identify one, and people can't correct themselves. Then start calling out society, and I'm not laying a hand on them. I'm not laying a hand on them. They're going to call themselves out, meaning like, okay, because people aren't going to want to be around people who human traffic other people. People aren't going to want to deal with narcissistic behavior. People aren't going to want to deal with parents who neglect their children, who let their kids run around dirty all the time, and or beat their wives. They're not going to want to deal with these sort of people. And yes, I'm writing out these weird things. I mean, these occurrences, these sort of things that happen in our daily society, and I'm writing laws that are I'm going to include the laws as well as the behavioral traits of these people. The thing is, the states, our United States, says that we cannot claim ignorance in the court of law. Okay, people are not taking the initiative to look at these laws, and you can tell. Just go outside and you can tell people do not care about having any sort of morals or whatever. Just by the fact this whole gang stalking thing lasted as long as it lasted. Okay, we live in a very immoral society. It's corrupt. Okay, so my thing is, okay, inform the public on the proper way of their behavior. Now, I'm not telling people how to act. I'm telling people this is what happens when you go outside these guidelines. Okay, and what happens in the guidelines is that means basically you're somebody who doesn't care, and you're willing to do what Rex Laverne did. Okay, look what Rex Laverne, he let all these people suffer. Okay, meanwhile, he was sitting here trying to raise, his income, his business. He was trying to improve his life situation, but to hell with everybody else. See, this sort of stuff, people need to, I'm hoping that people will start recognizing the patterns that they themselves exhibit and then want to change that, because people aren't going to want to be around you. And then also open their eyes to other people's behavior so that they can make decisions about who they want in their life. Okay, and if it does escalate to a legal issue, okay, it's not like these people didn't know. Because what I want to do is make the moral reset mandatory, is what I want to do. Okay, and it's very difficult for me to contact important people, and I feel very difficult doing it. It's very difficult to do it on like social media. And the reason why is because you don't really know who you're talking to. Okay, so yesterday I made a decision to stay off of social media as much as I possibly can. Why? Because there's a lot of people who are either imposters. And yes, I could find out. I could sit here, burn candles, burn incense, go into meditation, find out whether this person is who they say they are or not. I don't want to live like that. Okay. Now, I am under the impression that there's a lot of like celebrities and stuff like that ask for money and stuff like that. Okay. And I understand, hey, it's not that I don't understand or relate to the fact that they need to make like a little side income or whatever. I'm just saying is that it should be done in a way where maybe they have a separate platform to do that. Okay, it puts off-putting. Okay, and I'm not the only person who said this. That is off-putting when you're engaged in a conversation with a celebrity, and then all of a sudden they're coming up here and asking for money. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If they want to sell their membership cards, that's great, but there should be some sort of separate link to where you can go ahead and do that, is what I'm saying. Okay. Now, and so I get the feeling that there's going to be red tape for me to contact people like Donald Trump or whatever. So certain organizations, I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and send it out to people. And then, of course, I'm going to be posting it on social media. We'll see how it goes. Okay, I do know that I inspire a lot. Like I inspire a lot of the trends that are going on, inspiring like the miniatures, and not to say that miniatures and stuff like that didn't exist before I started doing it. It's just that obviously I'm somebody who is like a trendsetter, and I'm somebody who gets things moving. Okay, so just with my food magic alone, that generated a lot of money in the economy. My ideas on like talismans, the food magic, of course, and other things. Okay, like the clothes. I'm talking about clothes, going back to work in nice clothes and stuff like that. All of these sort of things generate income. Okay, generate without income, but generate and make money flow through the economy, and that just me doing that alone. Just through the Swan Manifesto. But don't get me wrong, just because I generate money into the economy does not mean that I'm filtering in that money. Look at my house. Okay, I live in an apartment. Okay, there's a difference between net worth and what you really actually have. Okay, and I understand that this is one of the issues with some of the celebrities. Okay, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying you guys need to find some sort of different platform. That's my suggestion, okay? Because a lot of people have been scammed. And I'm not somebody who has the time to determine whether or not somebody's telling me the truth or they're not. And I want to help, I do. I do want to help, okay? But it just has to look different. You can't sit here and ask for money in the manner that you're doing and then expect people to do that because we don't know who we're talking to. I don't know if yesterday somebody was trying to prove that they were who they said they were. So I'm thinking, okay, that could be an AI person. They can create AI images and just mount, and the mouth looked like it was kind of like fake, right? It looked fake. You can't trust people on the internet, okay? So this is what I think a lot of celebrities don't understand because they don't live like other people. They don't realize the general public, most of us have been warned on scams. Okay, most of us have been warned on, giving our money to people online or people that we can't verify. Okay, so this is one of the problems that I'm telling you guys this because I care. I mean, obviously you guys have like a little side hustle. There's nothing wrong with that, but your side hustle has to look a little bit different and it needs to be upfront instead of like, oh, let's talk and then let me start asking you for money. I'm not the only person who's saying this. So I'm saying this because I want you guys to be successful in what you're doing. I'm just saying that you guys have to find another strategy. It would be best for you guys too. And I really, really, really sincerely mean that. Okay. So yeah, that moral reset. I'm really excited about presenting it. And also it's not just telling people about laws and their behavior. It's about trying to encourage law enforcement to recognize when it's important to take action and hopefully expedite the legal system to where we're not waiting around all the time, years and years. And you know what? What's that guy? Richard Ramirez, dude. Now, who's to say? I mean, he seemed like he was guilty. Okay. But because people have such poor judgment, who's to say he wasn't? Okay. But I think it was like about a year or so ago, I was like turning on my TV and his face popped up and they were talking about trials and stuff like that. And what pissed me off? It's because this dude has been, this whole court issue with Richard Ramirez has been going on since I first started high school. Okay. The legal system is just like snail. It's just not expedient enough. Okay. So my thing is that, we need to start having better efficiencies for people that are considered to be undesirables. Okay. And that's my view. And like I said, I'm not political, but what happened to me is so disturbing that I could not imagine living in this world if we continue to be this way. It is horrible. It is absolutely horrible. Human trafficking has taken my life. It has literally taken my life. Okay. I am 54 years old. When I left Murray Family Farms, I was in my 40s and I knew it. I knew my time was coming. Like my time is running out. Okay. There's things I wanted to do. Okay. And I was prevented from doing that because this man wanted to take control over something that was mine. That apparition is my father's, and it's attached to me, and he follows me. Okay. And maybe he thought that that was a good thing to do. But the problem with it is he had no right to do that. Okay. So he was sitting here manipulating my employment. And I know a lot of people think, oh, well, there's nothing wrong with that. It is something wrong with that. When you put people getting people a job under those stipulations, there is nothing wrong with finding a person a job. It is when you're doing it to get them married, to keep them married, or you're doing it for some sort of agenda. And this is the case with him. He was also trying to manipulate my lifestyle. Okay. And then he got greedy and started talking to other companies and creating this whole DEI thing, which backfired. And now these companies are struggling. And top of that, he has ruined the lives of so many people. Okay, with his weird vision of his whatever, his, I don't know, his fucking Nazi utopia. Bad idea. So my thing is, for these companies who are struggling, if I were you, I would just come out and say it. We were a part of some sort of human trafficking that we were unaware of, meaning we didn't fully understand it. We didn't fully, something like that. Because, and like I said, don't expect everybody to forgive you on this. Because like I said, there's some diehard people I saw on Instagram, and I also saw on YouTube. Like, they really don't give a flying fuck what your excuse is. Okay? Because they feel as though that is such a bold move that it's completely inexcusable. I'm just letting you know what you're facing. But I'm trying to say, if you are trying to salvage your business, you need to cast blame where it belongs. And not to say that you aren't to blame for this. Okay? Because to me, if you were well versed in business law, you would not have taken that. Now, and I'm not to say that by removing a DEI initiative is illegal, okay? But you obviously can tell that it's a shutout, and it's basically preventing certain people. And to me, that was completely agenda-driven. It was completely agenda-driven. And like I said, I'm not somebody who relies on those things, even though I'm a person of color. Like I said, when I come to the employment place, hey, I am the best. I am the best. I will not drop the ball. I will be here every day. If I'm not here every day, you best believe my shit's done. The shit is going to get done. Okay? Now, the thing is with an employer, you don't have to marry me. I'm not asking you to marry me. I'm just doing a job. You don't have to interblend with me or anything. A business license is not a marriage license. Okay? This dude had people doing stuff that is just outright shocking. He made people change their entire lives for him. Okay? This is a huge scandal. Okay? But if they want to try to absolve themselves, they need to start, doing something. Okay? Anyway, I just wanted to come on here and make that video. I did want to talk to people about how I feel about looking for work, because it's no longer an enjoyable experience for me. I used to love looking for work because it was like a new opportunity, and I kept thinking, oh, this is gonna be so cool. I can't wait to start the job. But I used to be so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and now I'm just like, what kind of bullshit am I gonna have to deal with now? What kind of ball droppers I'm gonna be working with? What kind of what do you call it? Unprofessional environment am I gonna be stuck in this time? And this is how I feel. You know what I mean? And so it's really important for me to just be really driven, really focused. And if I didn't have that drive, if I didn't have that focus, I'd be fucked. Okay? I would be fucked. Because I honestly do not enjoy people anymore. It's the truth. You know what I mean? I honestly do feel sometimes that we are living in those days where it's just like there's so much corruption. And you can't help for me to feel this way. Okay? Anyway, I also want to say that I am no longer looking in Lancaster for employment. Okay, and it's not that I don't love Lancaster, because I do. It's just a nightmare trying to find anything in Lancaster. I was hoping that I could find an apartment. Unless, of course, it's just like right in my face and somebody presents it to me, I'm not going to look for it. Everything that relates to me having to look for work, having to start all over again, is extremely traumatizing for me. Okay, why? Because I was being, manipulated, and I was put in a human trafficking ring by a Nazi. Okay, all of that has a profound impact on my mind. Okay, and it's a little too much for me. So unfortunately, as much as I love Lancaster, unless some sort of cool miracle happens to where I end up there, I can only think about now. Okay, it's easier for me to get to work from one point A to point B here in Bakersfield, where I'm in right now, than having to figure out without my vehicle. Okay, Rex Laverne stripped me of everything that I owned. Okay, basically, I don't have a car. He ruined my reputation. You know what I mean? I don't appreciate it. Okay, so I'm glad the motherfucker's dead. I'm fucking glad he's dead. Okay, it delights me to no end that he's dead. And you know what? It's my goal to make sure that more human scrap heap gets removed off this earth. You know why? Because I'm sick and damn tired of it. I'm tired of immoral people. That's exactly what it is. I'm tired of immoral people. And in order for people to be truly educated, it's got to change. Okay? To me, if you're an educated person, you act different, you think different, you eat different. Everything about you is going to be different. It is not the way that it is right here. This is not living. And I will not accept it as living because I know better. Anyway, I'm wrapping up this video. I am so tired, but I'm telling you the truth, and I'm releasing my feelings. So anyway, I do want to support the people who have been like subscribing to me and my channel, and I'm going to wrap this up, and I'll be back with another video sometime later. Take care.